Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. It is I, North Star State Politics, and today we're going to be starting a new series. I'm going to be calling it, The Road to, The Road to the White House, The Great Eight. Basically, we're going to be covering these different states here. These are what I consider the most important swing states of 2024. These are the states that I think both parties are going to target the most out of any of the other states to win the Electoral College. Republicans are especially going to be targeting Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Nevada, considering trends have made them fairly close in recent years, and also they narrowly lost all four of those within the past, or in 2020, they narrowly lost all four of them. I believe all of them were decided by under 4 points, which should be interesting. And of note, I actually think Trump might win Michigan if he is the nominee. I think Trump would pick. But anyways, the state we're going to be covering though is the state of Florida. The state of Florida. What do I think? So we're going to be basically the components of this series are going to include comparing, like going over the state's electoral history, and then comparing who I think would do better there, Trump or DeSantis. This is kind of like a Trump versus DeSantis series. Basically, is what this is. Um, in Florida, we're gonna start in DeSantis' home state. With that, let's go ahead and get underway. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is widely renowned for being one of the most popular in the nation. Um, Ron DeSantis was the governor who won by a large margin in a swing state. DeSantis crushed his Democratic opponent Charlie Crist by 19 percentage points and won almost every county in Florida except for roughly, I believe, 5 counties. All but 5 counties in Florida went red. And DeSantis even received over 80% of the vote in some of them. DeSantis won the Hispanic vote in Florida. He won longtime Democratic counties of Miami-Dade, Osceola, Pinellas, and Hillsborough, as well as St. Lucie, which he lost in 2018. DeSantis, on the surface, does seem like an electoral juggernaut in the state of Florida. But the digger that's not what I meant. But the more we dig, the deeper we dig, the more we find out that Ron DeSantis was kind of a chronic underperformer. In 2018, Ron DeSantis upset Andrew Gillum by 0.4 percentage points in the 2018 Florida governor race. As we can see, Ron DeSantis pulled off a narrow raw vote victory of roughly 33,000 votes. Now, this would be a respectable win and an at-the-time swing state like Florida, until you remember that Andrew Gillum is a gay crackhead who openly had, to keep it family-friendly, who openly had parties that had some adult activity taking place and also did cocaine during those on the campaign trail at a hotel in Miami. Basically what I'm saying is Ron DeSantis barely beat a literal crackhead. A literal gay crackhead Ron DeSantis couldn't even defeat. As you can see, Ron DeSantis lost a couple of counties that Trump won, notably St. Lucie, Pinellas, and Duval. Ron DeSantis was seen as a vulnerable incumbent prior to 2020, as his narrow margin of victory in the national environment, as well as the potential of a Trump re-election being very high, it was believed that DeSantis could possibly even lose in 2022 if Trump was re-elected. But Donald Trump, as we know, in air quotes, lost re-election to Joe Biden, which prompted the Republican trickle, if you want to call it that, in 2022. Ron DeSantis, as we covered earlier, absolutely destroyed Charlie Crist. But there's something I'd like to take note of here. Ron DeSantis is not an electoral juggernaut. I do not think he is. Here's why. Number one, in 2018, Ron DeSantis received 4,076,186 votes. Andrew Gillum received 4,043,723. Take note of that vote total. Gillum had over 4 million and so did Ron DeSantis. In 2022, Ron DeSantis only improved his raw vote margin by about 500 like 500 some thousand, close to 600,000, while Charlie Crist lost over 900,000 votes. Ron DeSantis only made a net gain of roughly about 600,000 statewide, while Charlie Crist lost a bunch of votes. Democrat turnout was down, while Republican turnout spiked a little bit. Again, had this been a 2018 level race, Ron DeSantis would have won by single digits. DeSantis would not have won by close to 20 like he did in 2022 had there been an actual, had the Democrats gotten behind their candidate. But the thing is, because Democrats weren't energized in Florida, Ron DeSantis was leading comfortably in the opinion polls. He had the war chest. He was able to do it. The problem is, you take Ron DeSantis out of the state office, he's not going to be able to win. Let's talk about Trump's electoral history in Florida. So, basically, Trump in Florida is a little more interesting than DeSantis. Well, they're about equally as interesting. As we see here, Donald Trump carried Florida by roughly 100,000 votes. We compare their vote totals. Donald Trump in 2016 got more votes than Ron DeSantis did in Florida by 3,000. Very similar turnout in Florida, even though it's gained a lot of population. Ron DeSantis won by 3,000 less votes than Trump had in 2016, while Charlie Crist, mind you, had over 1 million less votes than Hillary Clinton. Had Democrats turned out, we could have seen a race very similar to 2018. We very well could have seen a race where, DeSantis only wins by 5 or 6. And honestly, I was kind of expecting that, hey, maybe Ron DeSantis could go down, or he wouldn't go down. But I figured, hey, DeSantis could maybe only win by single digits. Now, of course, I predicted he'd win by about, I think I said, my final prediction, I said he'd win by 17. He won by 19. So I was close. But I said there is a chance that if Republicans don't turn out, and Democrats, who appear to be gaining in Florida, because they did kind of gain in the polls a little bit at the end of the race, I said, hey, Dems might overperform. They didn't, thankfully, and Ron DeSantis was elected to another term. That being said, who do I think is more electable in Florida? Well, I'm going to be honest. DeSantis is more electable in Florida only because he is from the state. I think Trump and DeSantis at the presidential level would run in line with each other by about the same. I say in 2024, DeSantis by 8, Trump by 7. In my opinion, neither of them really have a significant advantage over each other in Florida. So, that puts Florida into the already covered states. Thanks for watching this episode. The ruling verdict is that it's basically a tie. Both candidates have a pretty good chance of securing the state, considering it's had a large influx of Republican voters from California and Oregon and Washington moving there, which has made the state basically a kind of like a South Carolina, but more important. Basically, all I have to say is Florida is out of reach for the Democrats. And I think it's so out of reach to the point where it doesn't really matter. DeSantis would do, I think, about the same as Trump. Trump literally got more votes than DeSantis did. But, we don't even talk about 2020, where Trump carried the state by 4 and got 5,668,000 votes. Trump almost had 6 million votes in Florida, where he did worse than DeSantis in terms of margin-wise, and he did worse than DeSantis in terms of counties. Anyways, I know I've gone on for too long, but in my opinion, as I said, the final verdict, neither has a significant advantage. Both would run about the same in Florida, in my opinion. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys agree. If you disagree, let me know why in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good next couple of days, guys. I have an early day off because it is the end of the trimester for school. So I hope you guys have a nice early weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.